Hello everyone. So far we have seen some important problems and we will continue some more problems in this video lecture because they are quite important in the strength of material. So as many problems we do, that will always improve our concepts and fundamentals. Now we will see the problem number 1.6. Let me zoom this. Problem number 1.6. Here it is has got some other uh, given data. Here the ultimate stress is given. What is ultimate stress? The ultimate stress, let us read the problem first. The ultimate stress for a hollow steel column which carries an axial load of 1.5 meganewton is 480 newton per mm square. The ultimate stress for a hollow steel column which carries an axial load of 1.9 meganewton. So the load is given, but the type of column it is a column. It is not a rod. It is a column, a hollow steel column. The ultimate stress is given if the external diameter of the column is 200 mm. Determine the internal diameter. Take the factor of safety as 4. He has given that the factor of safety is 4. So what is factor of safety? It is given by ultimate stress by working stress, or it is also given by yield stress by working stress, or permissible maximum permissible stress. That is, now while we solve this problem, here he is asking about determine the internal diameter. Same again, stress is equals to force per area, cross sectional area, or the area which is perpendicular to the load that is acting. Here the load acting is 1.9 meganewton, and the ultimate stress is given, but we should so for this type of cases we should design for not for ultimate stress, we should design for working stress. So with the help of ultimate stress, and we have to design this for determining the internal diameter of the column. So what is given the given data here? It is ultimate stress 480 newton per mm square, axial load 1.9 into 10 power 6 newton, because it is mega newton, you convert into newton. This is the axial load. Now external dia 200 mm, factor of safety is 4, internal diameter is small d, area is given by pi by 4, capital D square minus small d square. So 200 square minus d square, it is mm square because it is area. Next we should determine factor of safe permissible stress. We should determine permissible stress because ultimate stress is given, factor of safety is given. 4 is equals to 480 by working stress. So working stress is equals to 480 by 4. So it is 120 newton per mm square. So stress is equals to 120 newton per mm square. It is force per area. It is again stress is equals to force per area. You go back to the first one. Force is 1900,000. This divided by pi by 4, capital D square minus small d square. So capital D square minus small d square, and we are going to get the final d value by using our calculators. So we should design. The design is dependent on uh, ultimate stress based design it is, and stress value is taken with working stress or permissible stress is taken. Next problem. A stepped bar shown in figure 1.6 is subjected to an axially applied compressive load of 35 kilonewton. Find the maximum and minimum stresses produced. Find the maximum and minimum stresses produced. Given, so this is the figure. You are having two. We are having a stepped bar. A stepped bar means it is made up of. It can be made up of a single material or different materials. Here, a single bar with different cross-sectional areas. Till certain length, it has got some cross-sectional area, and till some other length, it has got different cross-sectional area. It is 3 centimeters diameter, 2 centimeters diameter, and the load applied here it is 35 kilonewton. Then here load, find the maximum and minimum stresses produced. Load P is equals to 35 kilonewtons. D1 is 12 centimeters. Now, area of upper part A1 is equals to 100 pi mm square. Area of lower part is pi by 4 30 square is equals to 225 pi mm square. The stress is equal to load divided by area. So load divided by A1 will give you this much stress, and when load divided by the bottom area will give the other stress. So when cross-sectional area is decreasing, the stress value will increase. See here, the A1 is compared with A2 is less value. That's why we get the maximum stress is so the final final maximum stress, maximum and the minimum stresses that were determined with the help of the loads, that is the lesser area, cross-sectional area will be affected more compared with that of the larger cross-sectional area. It is very clear in the by solving this problem. So we can come to a general conclusion that when a single same load is acting over different areas on a simple same material of Young's modulus E, the effect of that load will be greater for smaller cross section area compared with that of the larger cross section area. Next one. Analysis of bars of varying sections. A bar of different lengths and different diameters, and so let us look at this stepped bar. Analysis of bars of varying sections means there is a single bar. It is machined like with we have for different lengths you are having different cross sectional areas. Different sections has got different cross sectional areas. A like area one, section one, area two, area three is a different values. In that case, how the analysis will be, we will clearly explain by solving some problems. Now, look, looking at this picture, there is a stepped bar of different areas of cross sections A1, A2, A3, section 1, section 2, section 3 respectively, and there is an axial load, tensile load is acting, and of lengths, respective lengths of L1, L2, L3. Now, uh, see, at different sections, what is stress? Sigma 1, load by area 1. Same load is acting. Sigma 2, load by area 2. Sigma 3, load by area 3. That is the stresses. Next, strain, it is change in length by original length. Or when you know sigma, when you know the material, it is E is equals to stress by strain. So, uh, and this small e, strain is equals to stress by Young's modulus. E1 is equals to sigma 1 by E, that is P by A1E. For section 2 and section 3, E2 is equals to sigma 2 by E equal to P by A2E, and E3 sigma 3 by E, E by A3E. But strain in section 1, change in length of section 1 by length of section 1. It is change in length by its original length. So it is given by, uh, because we know already E1. So when E1 is known, because E1 is P by A E, load by area, it is stress by E, Young's modulus. So when strain is known, dl by L. So dl is equals to EL1. So PL1 by A1E. So E is equals to P by A1E is known already. So when it is multiplied with the length, original length, then this will be the change in length. So similarly, for section 2 and section 3, DL2 is DL2 by A2E, DL3, DL3 by A3E. So when you add all these three, then we are going to get overall change in the length. Overall change in the length is PL1 by A1E plus PL2 by A2E plus PL3 by A3E. So P by E is L1 by A1, L2 by A2, L3 by A3. So why we have taken this common P by E as common from all these three, 1, 2, and 3. And so this is an important expression. And also, suppose if we are having different materials for stepped bar, section 1 is different material, section 2 is different. So there is no similarity in Young's modulus. If Young's modulus are different, the materials are categorized, they are distinguished. So we differentiate one material with the other material by its Young's modulus, modulus of elasticity, or it is a property, it is a nature or a property by which its elastic behaviors are explained. So at that time, the dl is equals to P is taken common, applied load is same. So L1 by E1 A1, L2 by E2 A2, L3 by E3 A3. So when you add all these three, we will get the overall change in length. Now we'll illustrate this by solving a problem. This is very uh, important, and this is an example which will clear our concept now. The axial pull 35,000 Newton is acting on a bar consisting of three lengths as shown in the figure. It is a stepped bar, different cross-sectional areas. If the Young's modulus is 2.1 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square, Young's modulus only single given means all the materials are same. Determine stress in each section and total extension of the bar. Stress in each section and total extension of the bar. Stress in each section means section 1, 2, and 3. So the three sections are here, and the total extension we need to determine. Now, stress means force per area. So, how much resistance force that is acting in this body? It is 35,000 Newton. And force per unit area. What is the area? It is 2 centimeters. So, pi by 4, 2 centimeters square. Convert that centimeters into mm because we are having since modulus in mm square. You convert that into 220 mm. 2 centimeters is equals to 20 mm. Then pi by 4 d square. In all the cases, if you find out area 1, area 2, area 3. Then load by area, load by area, load by area for three different sections, we get stresses. Next, coming to the extension, it is strain is equal. We should find out strain values, or you can use direct formula. DL is equals change in length. Overall length is equals to P by E into L1 by A1 plus L2 by A2 plus L3 by A3. Either you can use this formula, or you can go through the basic steps. First, you find out its modulus and strains, then find out the elongations in different cases. 1, 2, 3. See here, load is always 35,000 load. In all sections, 35,000 load is acting. L1 is 200 mm, D1 is 20 mm, area 1 is 100 by mm square. L2, D2, A2. A2 is calculated here. L3, D3, A3. Next, Young's modulus is 2.1 into 10 power 4 Newton per mm square. Stresses in each section is determined here. Axial load by area of section 1, now 35,905, it is 111.408 Newton per mm square. Stresses in section 2, it is P by A2. So area 2, you take sigma 2, we get area 3, it is 625 pi. So, because for all these three, the load is same because it is because of the principle of transmissivity. Transmissivity, the load can act along the action of the line of action. We can take anywhere on the line of action. So this will be the stresses. And coming to strain, the P, sorry, overall change, not strain. We are not finding strain in independently, but we are finding the total change in the length. So P by E into L1 by A1, L2 by A2, L3 by A3. So on substitution, we are going to get 0.183 mm is the answer. And coming to the stresses, one is 111.408, 49, other one is 3. As the cross-sectional area is increasing, please make a note, as the cross-sectional area is increasing. See here, in the first case it is 100, here it is 225, it is 625. As the cross-sectional area is increasing, the stress concentration decreasing. See here, there one side this area is increasing, the other side the stress is decreasing. The stress value is decreasing. So stress value is increasing here. So here area is decreasing. Sorry, area is increasing. In this direction, area increasing. So stress is increasing in this direction. Or if area increases, what happens to the stress? Decreases. Next one, next problem. A member formed by connecting a steel bar to an aluminium bar is shown. A member formed by connecting steel bar and an aluminium bar is shown in figure 1.7. Assuming that the bars are prevented from buckling sideways, calculate the magnitude of force P that will cause the total length of the member to decrease by 0.25 mm. The values of elastic modulus of steel and aluminum is given separately. There are two materials, aluminum and steel and aluminum. There is a steel as well as aluminum bar. Their cross sections are different here. It is a square cross section, 5 centimeter by 5 centimeter, and this is 10 by 10. And their lengths are different. It is 30, and other one is 38. They are area. Now there is asking what is the change load for what load. The overall change here decrease in length is 0.25. So A1 you determine A1, E1 2.1 into 10 power 5. It is given. Next L2, A2, L1 is known already. Next E Young's modulus is given. Next change in length is this. P is required. So by using the formula dl is equals to P into L1 by A1 E1 plus L2 by A2 E2. Here the load acting is same only. So by using this, we can find out 0.25 is equals to P into 300 by 2.1 into 10 power 5 into 2500 plus 380 by 7 into 10 power 4 into 10,000, because these values are from the respective lengths, areas, and Young's modulus. So P is equal to 0.25 divided by the value, and finally we get 224.37 kilonewton. Here this length is decreasing, means it is subjected to compression. The last problem, we solve this problem based on principle of superposition. When a number of loads are acting on a body, the resulting strain according to principal superposition will be algebraic sum of strains caused by individual loads. This the overall strain is equals to algebraic sum of the individual strains. Algebraic sum of individual strains in a body, that is called as principle of superposition. There is a rod, if it is acted upon by uh, different forces, and when because of different forces, you will find at different sections, you will find compression, elongation. So what is the overall change in the length of the body? So that can be determined by using this principle of superposition. The algebraic sum of all the strains will give us uh, the overall strain in the member. So that is what is the principle of superposition, and this can be explained with an example. So here we have an example. Uh, this is this direction is two words. It is not correct. It is two words. 10 kilonewton is compressor here. A brass bar having cross-sectional area of 1000 mm square is subjected to axial forces as shown in the figure 1.9. So A, B, C, D, there is a member A, B, C, D, and it is subjected to loads at different sections. It is a single member, but at different sections, it is acted upon by the forces in different directions. The condition here it is the resultant force of these forces applied should be zero here. So 50 plus 20 plus 10, it is 80. 80 in left direction, 80 in right direction. So the body is at rest. So this equilibrium condition should be used to solve the problems. Now find the total elongation of the bar. Take E is equals to 1.05 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton per mm square. Here, very simple, we need to divide the sections. Now, AB section here 50 is tensile and 50 to the right side because you are having 80 kilonewtons, so you can consider it as 50 if it is a tensile. Next, we left with 30. Out of 30, we got 20, 20 to the right side and 20 to the left. So we get 20 compression, and we left with 10 more. So 10 to the right and 10 to the left. Here, this is again compressing. It is towards the material, so it is compression. So once we divide this uh, parts like this, we should go for the calculation part. That is stresses. We can find out what type of stresses it is, and strains. Coming to strains, PL by AE. So P1 L1 by AE. So 50 into 1000 by. So this is for with respect to the first portion, and with respect to the second portion, and this is and ABBC CD. AB, BC, and CD, or BD also you can take. Here they have taken BD, this BD portion. Here also it is also a compressive in nature. So uh, when you add all these, one is elongation. Here it is tensile. This is compressive, and this is also compressive. So for tensile it is positive. For compressives it is negative and negative. So the overall change here it is compressive, and the final answer here we get is, so it is summation of all the strains in AB, BC, BD.